Hello and welcome to the show. You know, the children of celebrities aren't always in search of the spotlight. In fact, many shy away from it, especially when they're trying to build their own name based on their own goals and their own talents. And Buddy Red can certainly relate. His father is rap artist T.I., but Buddy doesn't rap. Buddy sings the blues and plays rock music and loves to write love songs. It is my pleasure to welcome Buddy Red to the show. How you doing?
Portia, thank you so much for having me.
I am really excited to have you here because, I mean, we're talking 25 and playing the blues in 2025.
Right.
There's a whole lot right there that we need to unpack. I want to start, though, with this concept of being the son of celebrity parents, right?
Yeah.
R&B, hip hop, the whole nine. Big name in Atlanta and big name worldwide. And you kind of grew up on a reality show. So talk to me about how you kind of shy away, but then create your own lane. What was that like for you?
So a lot of people got the sense that, I shied away from the spotlight. And it was more so because I didn't really know myself yet. Because, a lot of people look at me and they think they know me because they know my father. And
because you were how old when the show started?
Probably 12, 11, something
Yeah,
like that.
so basically you're formative, we're talking adolescents, teens.
Exactly. And so I didn't have much to say because I didn't really have a lot of confidence in what I said. Because I felt like a lot of people weren't listening because nobody really knew my name. Nobody knew my name was Messiah for the longest time. They look at me and say T.I.'s son, and that does something to your mind. After years and years, you kind of feel like, well, that's just me.
So when did you get to the point where you said, no, my name is Messiah, and here's who I am? When did you sort of come into your own and kind of carve your own path?
When I began making music, that's when I would say, around 16.
So you were not playing a guitar as a child. You picked it up for the first time as a teenager. Why the guitar?
Well, at first I wanted to be a producer. And I remember telling my pops, like, I think I want to make music. I think I want to make beats. Because you can be behind the spotlight and make a beat for the person in the spotlight.
Right, because your family, the entire family, is musically inclined. Everyone has a talent.
Exactly, yeah. And once I began making beats, a couple of things happened that made me feel like I should be thinking bigger. And then...
Like what?
Like playing the guitar. Like playing the guitar. And so I picked that up at 18.
So did you get lessons or you get training? Like how did you, I mean, I know obviously some of it is just in the DNA. Your parents are very talented, but it's still something to it.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you how it happened. Like I said, when I was making beats, I felt like I should be doing something bigger, but I didn't know what that was. And down in the dumps, I went to the movies one day, and I saw this movie called Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie about Queen and Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
We will.
Right,
When I saw that movie, I didn't even know what it was about. But once the music began and I discovered for myself classic rock and roll, I forgot all about producing for the most part. And I said, I want to be on a stage and I want to do that. That's when I wanted to be in the spotlight. You know? And I didn't know what instrument I was going to play while I was watching the movie.
Yeah.
But by the time I walked out, I settled on the guitar. And so I hurried up and bought one before I thought myself out of doing it. And then I took lessons once a week.
So what did your father say? What did your mother say?
What did Pop say, man?
Or did you tell him immediately, or did you just start?
I like to do things without telling him just because, I don't know, he kind of wants you to show him things rather than tell him things.
That makes sense.
So I wanted to make sure I knew a little bit before I said, hey, I'm playing the guitar. And when I did tell him, I got more of a reaction than when I told him I was making beats. He said, oh, okay. And I can only imagine what was in his mind. Like, okay, beats, guitar, what else are you gonna do?
Right. So I have to say, like, you are totally, and I've listened to your music and looking at you here, you are totally, even though you look obviously a lot like your father, you are giving me mega Jimi Hendrix vibes. And there's kind of a sound there too. Did you study Jimi Hendrix? When you said I want to do a deep dive in this type of music, who did you start listening to?
First, I started listening to Queen because I saw the movie.
Yeah.
And they were my introduction into this music. And then I discovered that blues is the root of rock and roll.
Absolutely.
So I started getting into blues. Like Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson,
Yeah.
Charlie Patton and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Led Zeppelin, which is a mix between rock and roll and deep South blues.
Right.
But Jimi Hendrix came a little bit after
Okay.
I started listening to the blues. And at first I didn't really like him because I didn't understand it. It just sounded like convoluted, and it sounded beyond my knowledge.
Wow.
And
That's an honest way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Because between the guitar riffs, the lyrics, I mean, he really would go deep in the zone. And you're right, you do kind of have to be plugged in.
but when I heard him play a blues song, when I heard him play his version of the blues, he got me hooked. I said, "Oh, what's my version of the blues?"
Right,
You know?
right.
So
That's so interesting that you say that because, and you're 25, recently turned 25. Happy birthday. I don't think a lot of folks gonna call me the auntie in the conversation, right? I don't think a lot of aunties are going to imagine a 25-year-old performing the blues because so much of it is life experience, the heartache, the storytelling that comes from the way our ancestors played the blues. So what is the innate connection for you?
Well, growing up, I would always think a lot of things without saying them. And because the spotlight was always kind of on me in a way,
Yeah.
I was always very to myself. You know, you got different people that react to the spotlight in different ways.
Right.
Some people love it and they kind of take advantage of it. Other people's kind of get out of the way.
Right,
And
yeah,
so
kind of dodge it a little bit.
my years of, I guess, trying to stay out of the way, I developed.
Your own voice, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it's another thing I want to say, like,
Well, let me ask you this. What's the feedback now that you have found your voice? And what do people say when they hear you?
man, it's amazing. Like, truly, like, to have people not know my name, like, a couple of years ago before they knew I was playing the guitar.
Yeah.
To when I walk down the street, people say, "Messiah," or "Buddy, I love what you're doing." Like,
Not T.I.'s son.
right, exactly. And
And we love T.I., but not T.I.'s son because they're different. Yeah.
I like to think that I represent a version of my pops that didn't have to do the things that he had to do growing up. And
To take care of his family and to make a way. Yeah.
Right.
I respect that.
because before he was like rapping, or while he was rapping originally, he was making beats and stuff too. He wasn't like doing it seriously, but he had the ear to hurry up and get something done instead of paying for a producer. You know,
Right.
that hustler mentality.
Right.
saving
I'm
money.
going to just make this work here in the studio. We just going to do this right here. Yeah.
So I feel like I'm that exemplified a little
That's
bit.
the offspring of it. I love it. I love it. This is a beautiful conversation. I feel like we're learning a lot about you. You're right that we don't often get to hear, but that's part of your evolution, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to continue this conversation after the break. We're going to get the story behind that stage name, Buddy Red. And listen, we're going to put his songwriting skills to the test with a little freestyle improv guitar game. You do not want to miss this. Conversation continues right after the break. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I really want to thank you for season 3 of Portia. It's because of loyal viewers like you that we keep getting to share this daily dose of positivity all across the country. So just a reminder, I still need you to like, comment, and subscribe. And go ahead and tell your friends. You can catch us now in Orlando, in San Francisco, in Atlanta, and all across the country on Fox Soul. Tell your friends. We'll see you soon on Portia.